Hope you are watching this in good health and with positive attitude, because in times like this, these are the only two elements which can help us survive the situations. So, starting from where we left in previous video, that was directors part 1, this is director part 2, and we'll try to cover very, or you can say try to cover less topics, because right now the topics which are left are very technical and lengthy. So looking again at the time perspective of the videos, length of the videos, and how you can manage learning of these things, today I'll try to cover very less topics. So let's start. And now we had done almost previous lecture, we did few of the topics. So next topic today we'll start is appointment of directors. So as we know that directors are very essential elements of a company, and their core group of management of the company, whole management of the company is dependent on directors. Now how directors are appointed, it's a very basic question, and you may have this doubt, you may have seen that, or you may have thought how directors are appointed in a company and from where they came, who can be directors in a company. Now again, so first of all, let me make it very clear that any person who has taken a natural birth can become director in the company, you know that. So even shareholders in a company can be directors. It is no, in Companies Act, right now in Companies Act 2013, it is not written anywhere that shareholder cannot become director. So in the same way, on the same lines, we know that shareholders are also members of the company, so members can also become directors. So auditor of a company, internal auditor of a company can be director of the company, and it's not any other person who is not even related to a company can also be a director in the company. Maybe you are appointed director of the company, and you don't have any kind of share, or you do not possess any kind of share, equity share, preference share, any kind of debenture in that company. That is also possible. So for being director of the company, a particular relation with the company is not required. Anyone can become director in a company, although there are certain exceptions, there are certain barriers on depending on type of director a person is going to act, or a type of director person is going to become in the company. Okay, so for the sake of this topic, I will distribute this appointment of directors in two broad steps. So on this screen right now you can see that the topic is divided into first directors and subsequent directors. So first let's discuss what here I mean with first directors. In books or in other material which you will refer, you will not find first directors and subsequent directors, but I have only mentioned it. Why I did this is because, see, whenever a company is incorporated or formed, it is always like a company, what will happen is company need director, and director will be there till the first day when the company was incorporated. Now, so the person who is appointed, or the people who are appointed on the day of incorporation or before incorporation of the company as directors, are known as first directors. Maybe, for example, see, it's a private limited company. You have formed a private limited company. Yesterday we read that private limited company should have minimum 2 directors. Now your company, for example, you appointed minimum, you wanted to appoint, and because of need of the business you have appointed 3 directors. As let's say you have appointed 4 directors during incorporation of the company or while incorporating the company. Now these 4 directors, because they were appointed on the day of incorporation or before the day of incorporation, these directors are known as first directors of the company. Simple. So first director means directors who come on day of incorporation, or who act as director from the day of incorporation with the company. It may be 1, it may be 2, 3, 4, n number of directors can be there. It depends on type of company, what type of directors come, how many directors company is appointing. First thing. Second, now what is subsequent directors? So first director is clear. Subsequent director, when these 4 directors will retire, or when these 4 directors will vacate these offices, anyone who will come in place of these 4 directors will be known as, or is known as, subsequent director. Simple. So it's very simple. If you take it in a time manner, or if you correlate this with time, so directors who are appointed at the first position, then they are first directors. Any director appointed after first director retires from the company, or first director vacates his office, that director is known as subsequent director. It is very simple. Now this all theory is there, but to make it more easier, one chart is there. I will show you that chart. See, so appointment of directors we are doing. The appointment of directors divided in 2 parts, that is first director and subsequent director. Now first directors, who will, or how first director is appointed. So first directors are named in articles of association of the company. That is, in articles of association during formation or before incorporation of the company, when you design articles of association, one clause will be there that so and so will act as director of the company from this period to this period. Let's say Mr. X will act as director of the company from this period to this period, and Mr. Y will act as director of the company from this period to this period. A specific name of the person will be written in articles of association who will act as directors. They are known as first directors of the company. But it may happen that specific names are not written. Okay, you have not written anything related to directors in your articles of association, or a specific name of the person who is going to act as directors, first directors in your company, is not mentioned under articles. Then what will happen? In that scenario, the subscriber to memorandum, the people who were subscriber to memorandum, will act as director of the company, will act as first director of the company. So it's become very, it has been simplified, right? Like, who is first director of the company? So first directors of the company are the people who are mentioned, whose name is mentioned as first director in articles of association. Okay, if it is not mentioned, then subscriber to memorandum of association will act as first director of the company. Simple. Now these first directors will vacate office. After some time, in place of them, new directors will be appointed. Okay, let's say after 90 days or after first annual general meeting of the company, shareholders will come and appoint subsequent directors. So here then this first appointment of first director is very simple, and now we'll move to subsequent directors. Now see, subsequent director is group of directors or any other director who is appointed after the appointment of first directors, first group of directors. Okay, so subsequent director, how subsequent director is appointed? Subsequent director is appointed by shareholders in general meeting. It's very simple. You should always remember that shareholders in their general meeting and annual general meeting appoints directors of the company. And we have not done meetings, we'll do it, then it will become more clear to you. But right now you just remember that shareholders appoint subsequent directors in meeting, in their general meeting. Good. Now, so go through this chart again, it will be easy for you. So how directors are, now see, so appointment of directors, first director of the company are named in AOA of the company. However, if there is no such provision, subscriber to memorandum shall be first director of the company. In one person company, an individual being member shall be deemed to be first director until director or director duly appointed by the member. It's same, but because OPC it's mentioned separately. Subsequent directors. Every director shall be appointed by company in general meeting. General meeting is annual general meeting. No person shall be appointed as director of the company unless he has been allotted director identification number, in short form DIN. This we have read earlier. Now every person proposed to be appointed as director of the company in general meeting shall furnish his DIN and declare that he is not disqualified to become a director under this act. Act is Companies Act 2013. Okay, so every person who wanted to be appointed or who is to be appointed as director of the company, he should declare that he should furnish is to provide his director identification number to the company. At the same time, he should declare that he should file a statement with the company that I am not disqualified to act as director. Disqualifications we read yesterday or in previous video, what disqualifications are there for directors. So whenever a person is going to be appointed a director of the company, it is his duty to declare to the company that he is qualified or he is not disqualified to be appointed as director. Okay, now we'll see what are the various provisions related to. There is one more thing is there, that is subsequent directors and then subsequent directors, because first directors and subsequent directors we studied, but now this process will go on. It will never end because companies don't end so easily. So appointment of directors can only cease after the end of the company. So how this thing happens? Now see, subsequent directors is a very technical concept. Now with subsequent directors come into picture a very new or interesting concept which is known as rotation of directors. Rotation is the word rotation. Here the word rotation means rotation is to rotate position of directors or rotate individuals who sits or who occupies the position of director. For example, how a CR or how your class representative is changed every semester. That is how directors are rotated in a company. It's important. Okay, so that concept is known as rotation of directors and how it acts. So again, I will tell you the process, or I'll explain it in my words, then we'll go with whatever is written in this presentation. See, whenever of all the directors, of all the total directors appointed in a company, let's say there are 15 directors appointed in a company. Okay, out of these, now these all, and let's assume these all 15 directors are subsequent directors. First directors done, no, these are subsequent directors. Now out of these 15 directors, we are talking about rotation. Okay, out of these 15 directors, in every annual general meeting, okay, out of these 15 directors, in every annual general meeting, 2/3 of these directors, that is 2/3 of 15 directors are eligible to retire by rotation. Okay, that is, if 15 people were there, 2/3 of 15 will be 10. 2/3 of 15 will be 10. So out of these 15 people, 10 people or 10%, you can say, out of these 15 people, 10% will or should retire at next annual general meeting. Okay, for example, these were appointed in second annual general meeting, then in third annual general meeting, 10 people out of these 15 people should retire. But this is not all 10 will not retire. Okay, now again in the same meeting, out of these 10, 1/3, that is, so 1/3 of 10 will be 3.33 something, 3.33% cannot retire, so that will make it 4. Out of these 10 in that meeting, 4 must retire. Okay, now the series or the concept goes like this: out of total directors, 2/3 are eligible to retire by rotation. That is, they should retire. Any one of these 10 people can retire, but 1/3 of these 10 people should retire. That is, out of 15, 4 people must or should retire in that meeting. It is compulsory or it is mandatorily. Now see, now mandatory provision is there, and now these 4 people, when they will retire, it will become a vacancy. A vacancy or 4 vacancy again will be created, because now they have because now you need 4 more directors, because earlier 15 positions were there, now you have only 11 directors left, 4 also already retired. So now in this meeting, only in the same meeting, okay, shareholders will appoint 4 new directors to fill the vacancies which were created by the directors who have retired in this meeting. Simple. Now these 4 people who are going to be appointed as new director of the company, they can be from the earlier director who retired, or they can call someone else or completely a new individual to act as director of the company. Let's say, let's take an example: A, B, C and D. These are the 4 people who just retired in the meeting. Now shareholders should fill this vacancy. What shareholders can do is, they can appoint A and B, they can reappoint A and B as directors. It's very simple. And in place of C and D, they can go for X or Y, or you can say for any other person. This can happen in any ratio, or four directors can be new, all 4 directors can be old. No, in that no particular law or no particular provision is there. Okay, so it's very simple. Rotation of director means in every meeting, every general meeting, 1/3 of 2/3 of total number of directors should retire, and in place of those retiring, shareholders should fill the vacancies. Okay, now we'll read the presentation, what points are written over here, and this is technical, so you may have some doubts in this. Whenever you go through this video, make sure to write down your doubts and clear them as soon as possible, because again and again, if you take time to solve your doubts, then you may forget the whole concept or whole process. So we'll read this. See, unless the articles provide for retirement of all the directors at general meeting, not less than 2/3 of total number of directors of a public company, and this provision is only applicable to public companies, not to private companies. B, person whose period of office is liable to be determination by retirement of director. See, what is written, not less than 2/3, only 2/3 director are there whose office is liable to be determination. That is, from 15, only 10 are liable to be retired by rotation. Next is, be appointed by company in general meeting, and same directors will be appointed by company in general meeting. Next point is, every AGM, after the first AGM, 1/3 of such directors for the time being as are liable to retire by rotation. Means the directors which were liable to retire by rotation, out of these, how many directors were liable to retire by rotation? It is written over here, 2/3 are liable. Out of these 2/3, 1/3, or if their number is neither 3 or multiple of 3, then the nearest number to 1/3 shall retire from office. Okay, so like 2/3 was liable to retire by rotation, and out of these 2/3, 1/3 should retire. The director who retire by rotation at every annual general meeting shall be those who have been longest in office since their last appointment, but as between 2 persons who became director on the same day, those who are to retire shall be determined by lot. It's very simple. For example, out of these 15 people, first who will go first? Obviously no one want to leave a position like director. It comes with a huge salary and huge packages, so no one want to get retired. And this is just, so who will retire? This is not lottery na, ki you may go, I will not, today is Monday, I will not go, like it will not happen like this. So the process followed is they will retire on FIFO basis, first in first out. Whoever joins the earliest will move earliest, or will remove the will vacate his office, okay, earlier than others. But if two person came on same day, then they have to be determined by lot, then it is luck. Like for example, these 4 people, out of these 10 people, 5 people were appointed on same day. Out of those 5, 4 can leave, only 4 can leave. Then what they will do, then they will go for lot, that is lottery system. By lottery they will pick up 4 people, they will, and those 4 people should retire, should leave their office. Simple. At AGM at which director retires, the aforesaid, the company may fill up the vacancy by appointing retiring director or some other person there too. This we have already explained, that the vacancy created by retiring director can be filled up by the director who retired in that meeting or by any other new person. If the vacancy of retiring director is not so filled up and the meeting has not expressly resolved not to fill the vacancy, meeting shall stand adjourned till the same day next week at the same time and place. So this is a process they should complete in that meeting only. You cannot end the meeting, or you cannot conclude the meeting without hiring directors that or on these vacant positions. So in case that meeting is not, in case the directors are not appointed, new directors are not appointed, and maybe because of lack of time or something happens, then that meeting will adjourn. Adjourn means it is going on, but then that day it cannot take place. So when it will take place same day next week, same time and place. Okay, for example, you are holding meeting on Monday. If you are not able to complete or go with full process, then the same process will automatically take place in same meeting, but that meeting will be held on next Monday. So this is known as adjournment of meeting. It is not postponement, it is adjournment. Or if that day is national holiday, till the next succeeding day which is not holiday at the same time and place. If at the adjourned meeting also the vacancy of the retiring director is not filled up, the retiring director shall be deemed to have been reappointed at the adjourned meeting. And it's very simple. See, on next Monday, even on next Monday, shareholders are not able to appoint directors, new directors. Then what will happen? Company cannot work without directors. In that case, the person who has just retired in the same meeting on previous Monday, they will automatically be appointed or reappointed, you can say, as directors of the company. Okay. So this is rotation of directors. I'll revise it once. See, out of total directors, 2/3 directors are liable to retire by rotation in every annual general meeting. Out of these 2/3 directors, 1/3 directors should retire. The vacancy created by retirement of these directors should be filled by shareholders in the same meeting. If shareholders are not able to fill these vacancies in this meeting, the meeting will adjourn to next same day, next week, same time and same place. In the adjourned meeting also, if shareholders are not able to appoint directors to fill up the vacancies created by the directors who retired earlier, in that scenario, the directors who retired from that meeting will be reappointed as directors of the company again. That's the process of rotation of directors. Always remember one thing, this process is only applicable to rotation of directors in public company. In private company, rotation of directors does not exist. Same as the case with OPC, because OPC is a private company, one person company is a special kind of private company. That's why rotation of directors is also not applicable in OPC. Simple. Okay. So I was expecting to cover two more topics, but I don't think. I think I have exceeded the time limit in this single topic. So we'll wrap it up just with this topic. Go through this. If you have any doubts, ask me, and then next video we'll try to cover director sub. Okay. So good evening. Stay happy, stay blessed, stay healthy, and stay safe.